Yo, my name's Diamond Fox. I've been playing this game for quite some time, enough time, and I forgot when I started. My god complex forbids me to lose.
All right. Well,
Well, it's
welcome
nice
on.
to have you on the show.
Let's go. Alright, so when I saw what is probably was gonna be an attack on the sun, I was gonna group up my forces and then go in. But as you can clearly see, that wasn't enough, and it's soon going to be the fact that it all ends with me with less troops and him with more nukes on his side. So I was pretty, and so I was going to do the strategy that I was just going to keep my ships on the opposite side of his to make sure that his missiles and all that would reach, but not enough to kill all my troops at once. But then he decides to bring down the house on me with like 20 nukes, and I had to swirl around like a pig in a pig pen. And I got the buff, and I clearly forgot home base existed. As you can see on the map, I just there. But, I'm dumb enough that I forgot that was there. So I just go to moods and try to see if I can get more.
Oh yeah, it was a very unique moment, because if you don't know the nuke behavior, once a nuke locks onto a ship, it sort of relentlessly hunts that down. So all those pandas, of course, sent in about 10 to 20 nukes on you, and they all locked on. And at that point, your only hope was to bait it out.
That's where it was about it. But if in turn I did manage to get enough troops to last, I would have tried to cut off his power to my home base at first, and then once that happened, that was basically the game. But as you could see, that battle left me devastated, and I could not recuperate any troops to get enough to win.
Yeah, I'm curious. What is your opinion of the nukes? Obviously, you're playing God of Defense, which doesn't normally have access to them. But what do you think about those troops?
All right, so a little fun fact about me here, but I stopped playing God of Defense with the new update, seeing God of Volatility way more fun to play. But at the time, I loved the fact I could upgrade my troops. That made defense really fun to do because I thought, hey, this is like a defensive move I can do at any time and make sure that I have something that other people might not. So, me being me and me knowing that I have a god plant complex and need to know that I'm better than everyone, I had to play that god.
Yeah, if you don't know, the old before the rework, the God of Defense had an ability called Upgrade, where it would upgrade about I think 10 to 15 of your ships into elite ships. So it was very very powerful at the time, and I think God of Defense was pretty much the strongest god in the game and very oppressive, that's for sure. But I'm curious, what do you find so fun about volatility nowadays?
It's different. It's different now. So what I thought is fun about it is that it actually provides a challenge to the game because I don't play metas very often, and when I do, that's just because I feel like it's something everyone else is doing, and I can't compete unless I play it as well. But if I had to say what made God of Vitality truly fun, it's the fact I can gather nukes and change the tide of battle that easily. But if I had to like rank the gods, uh, Voltaudi would be at the one of the very bottom because with the current play set you have to have with it, it's not very easy to pull off a win with.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I know Panda, one of the top players, thinks God of Volatility is really strong right now, just due to the passive ability of those chain reactions on death.
Yeah, see, that's it. That's the one thing that can change the tide of battle. If nukes did not have that effect, that god would be at the very bottom, below conquest and all that. But if it truly wanted to be better, it should heighten the nuke spawn rate. Because what I've seen throughout games is I've only seen like two or three that actually spawn from me instead of my ability.
Yeah, so the God of Volatility has that passive nuke generation that every time you spawn a ship, it has a chance to also spawn a nuke. Um, and I think that the rate has been decreased a little bit over time. But yeah,
I,
the nukes are definitely powerful.
yeah, I think it's a 5% right now, and the 10% for the chain reaction.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Did you find so also when we released that big balance patch that updated a lot of the gods, we also changed how nukes worked. Previously, if a nuke was shot, it would basically fire itself at the ship that killed it. However, in the new version, it just explodes in place, which can make it harder to get your nukes to connect to the enemy ships. Has that change impacted your gameplay at all?
Um, yes, a lot actually. See, before, if I played God of Volatility, I would use nukes as a tracking system to try and get my opponent away from my planets. But now I have to use it to get them closer. So what the nuke change did is made it so I can't quite do as much as I wanted to, because I see if my opponent overwhelms me with ships, if they shoot them down before they get to my side of the planet, I can't do anything. That's basically game.
Yeah, because if they just kill all your nukes before they're close enough, they're effectively just wasted ships.
Yeah, but altogether, the that really isn't a debuff to me, because what I could do is, in theory, you could place them in middle of a planet, and that would do a lot more destruction than what it would do if I just had them sitting at my home.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious, do you ever just have the nukes? You grab a handful of nukes in hand and keep them in your orb, and then just run over and just hold them in the middle of an enemy fleet?
Um, well, seeing as they just explode upon being shot, I would say a lot, considering I can't do much else with them. But if I had to tell you what it would mainly be about with the nukes, it's about trying to keep them circling a singular planet that you want to protect. And if your opponent even dares to think to go near it, that it sets off a chain reaction with all the others, wiping out your opponent's ships.
That's kind of funny. I guess volatility has turned into a new defense of sorts in that
Yeah,
regard.
yeah, but currently, I would say it's actually pretty hard to win with Vitality, but that's up to me, because I can't see a clear way to win during a full on brawl with someone. Because the ability overall, in my opinion, is good in some regards, that it gets you more nukes. However, it's not effective enough to make its ability a really good one. I think it's one of the weakest, due to the fact I'm wasting 10 troops for 10 nukes that could potentially do nothing.
Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward because in theory those nukes could kill 30 ships, but
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not gonna you're not gonna get that lucky or be able to use them that effectively.
If used right, I think the most I've gotten with nukes is 100 versus 50. Me being the 50 and me winning with 30.
Nice. That's pretty impressive there. That's definitely numbers in the opponent's favor there.
Yeah, but that's like the whole thing of nukes. It can turn the tide of battle with just a single explosion, but it's still very, very hard to pull off, because there's also a chance your opponent could get nukes, and there goes your entire shtick right there.
Steve, did
Yeah.
you have a question you wanted to ask there?
Yeah. Coming from God of Defense, have you noticed? Did you try the new wand effect? So now that when you cast the ability, it shields all your planets and asteroids, but it also shields your wand. So I was going to see if you've used that ability at all.
I did actually. Yeah, I've been using it in quite a while, but I feel like that the shield going from passive to ultimate was quite a big change, and that the current passive of a defense is quite lackluster for the old abilities. But I feel like it balances it out with the ultimate. However, I've seen that the ultimate can provide a lot of defense, but if someone just has like a lot of rockets or a lot of either point defense or anything of the sort, that basically renders it useless.
Yeah, of course the
Oh,
shields
gotcha.
don't stop missiles. So if
Mhm.
your opponent's bearing down on you with a huge army of like torpedo ships, it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, but however, what I recently saw is I'm experimenting with this new tactic with the wand. See, whenever you shoot
outward, your ships still get to go through the shield, and it doesn't let enemy ships go through the shield if you do the same for them. Such as I can place my wand around a enemy base, and then that base will no longer be able to shoot.
Oh, interesting, because uh, enemy projectiles don't. The shield's like two ways, right? So the
Yeah, it's
inside of
two
it
way.
also blocks. Yeah, that's very interesting. And yeah, that seems like a smart strategy. You could you can use that shield, that wand shield, to protect your ships by holding it around your ships, or you can block the enemy's end. Keep it in front of theirs. That's really interesting.
It's also really effective against snipers, seeing as they can't shoot from inside it. So if I just place my uh, bubble around a sniper planet, they render that useless, and it can no longer just long distance my ships. Speaking of which, I've seen snipers have become a big deal in the entire scheme of the game, seeing as they can uh, decimate a force easily, because they still target even if the other opponent has stopped attacking. At which one that point they cease all activeness of defense.
Yeah, that's why Jack
No,
and I were surprised yesterday in the tournament. Nobody took the sniper planet. And we were talking about that and how effective snipers are, especially if you position them in the correct manner.
If you're talking about how people don't bother with the sniper planet, it's because it's a really high cost planet. Because as you can see with the clip right now, uh, Pando is gathering up troops to go for the current frontal planet, and he's moving them around because he has a very small number of troops. That lowers the cost of that planet. Instead of it being 10 needed or 12 needed to take it, it lowers it down to at least 6 because the rockets will not decimate your planet. It turns it down from 12 to 6 easily because the rockets no longer hit your planets. And so that means that if your sniper planet can target you before you even get there, that lowers that cost and finites it to a singular point that you cannot defy.
yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is, it's in terms of planets that are hard to take. The neutral sniper planet is very hard. I think on the battleships map, the two-player variant, it has a planetary shield. I'm not sure how many turrets, but it's got a turrets, planetary shields, and snipers orbiting, which are already going to start wrecking your forces if you even get close. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely intimidating, and you really need. You're saying, yeah, it's high cost to try to take that.
I'm pretty sure what goes through everyone's mindset whenever they're doing a tourney. What can I take for a lower cost, and what can I have that would give me a much higher build? That's what went through my mind in tourneys, that I could come out with a lower cost but with a higher build, which would mean I overall have much more power than my opponent at the time.
Yeah, and by build you just mean, planet control and like strategic like
Mm-hmm.
value of your territory and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I had to say anything other about this current new update, it would be that I think the turrets are a really good idea, that you can put more turrets. However, if you really wanted to make an impact to turrets, you got to make them stronger on moons.
So you liked the change where moons can now support up to 4 turrets if you have. I mean, it's based on how many moons you currently control, but they can have up to 4 right now. But you advocate making the moon defenses even stronger.
Yeah, because what I've seen is people really don't care about that. Because if you just bring 3 troops over, one being a shield and one being a point defense, which those can't even attack, that whole entire turret system just goes down in hell.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know players have said when we interviewed Panda, he was saying that he's also a fan of the new turret change, and it definitely has an impact early game on what moons you can contest when you have a smaller fleet overall. But in the late game, the difference between 1 and 4 turrets, isn't really relevant when you're
Hmm.
coming in and wormhole chaining with a large fleet.
Yeah, that's basically it. If I had to tell you what I think about the personal update, it would be that you should probably change how the turrets work instead of like how strong they are. Maybe targeting a specific troop at first, like the heavy lasers, to get rid of that first, because that would probably kill them all in one go.
Do you think the addition of a shield turret would be a good change?
If you're gonna add a shield turret, then why not an EMP for like the home planet too?
That could definitely be interesting. I think a lot of the reason, you're able to. I know there was a time in the game where there weren't missile turrets, and then as soon as we added missile turrets, it became much more difficult to take neutral planets because all of a sudden, just hiding behind a shield wasn't going to save you and make you basically able to take it basically with nothing. Like I remember there were times when you were able to take the sun with one laser ship and one shield ship, just with enough patience and good positioning.
Nice. The shield turret is kind of an interesting idea, though, especially if they were randomized as well, and they were just kind of like popped in here and there. So it wasn't on every single moon or planet, but they just kind of like randomly were inserted and orbited.
All right, I just want to say one more other thing. I don't have a god complex. Please don't come up to me and say hi. Because I was making jokes about that. I don't want people just running up to me. Hi.
All right, it was nice having you on the show, and you can't wait to see you in more tournaments.
I will try to join either the next one or the next one after this, but I doubt I'm gonna get far.
I believe.
All right.
All
We'll talk
right.
to you later.
All right.
Bye.